glad to talk to you, and it's so cool that you're in North Dakota too. Like, it's so cool to find other indie authors in the state and everything. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, it is exciting. Definitely. I'm really excited we got to do this finally.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So if you could just start by telling a little bit about yourself, and do you go by D.E. Carlson, or I saw your name was Dorothy too. Do you, or is that, do you tell people that, or do you just?
Yeah. Yeah, you can call me Dorothy if you would
Okay,
like. Some
sounds
people
good.
just call me DE or D. Whatever's comfortable for you is
Sure.
comfortable
Okay,
for me. I
sounds
know
good.
saying DE Carlson is kind of like, blah, 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 because D and E sound so similar.
Right, right.
So no need to call me DE Carlson.
Okay, sounds good. I like Dorothy. It's beautiful. Beautiful name.
Thank you. Yeah, so I write young adult Christian fantasy romance. I know it's a bit of a mouthful. Um, And I started my writing journey when I was a child, and during my teenagerhood, wanted to publish, knew that it was something that I wanted to do and wanted to accomplish, but I never quite had the get up and go and the conviction and a really strong story to tell that showed my faith and my convictions until I had been an adult for a while, gone through some stuff, had some experiences, had real life slap me in the face a few times, and then I had a real powerful message to share. And so that's kind of how my writing journey went. And I don't know, guide me which direction you want me to go as far as what I should
Yeah,
talk about, because there
sure.
are so many avenues I
Oh,
could go
totally.
down.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Well, so you started publishing when?
I published To Bind Fire just under 2 years ago.
Okay, that is amazing. That's great. And it looks like it's been doing really well.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the success. At times, slightly amazed with the success that I've seen with this series. So,
Oh, wow. So, okay, so if you could just share a little bit about kind of like this is kind of a love-hate question for authors and writers. Like, if you could like if you remember the first strand of the idea, that kind of inspired this project, this book, this series, what was that, if you can think back about it?
I actually love that question.
Good. Good.
And I would say there are so many things in my life that did come together to kind of birth this story from me. Um, and it's difficult to know which of those things to talk about. Um, Firstly, I would say it was definitely born of me needing to process some really hard stuff that had happened in my life,
Okay.
process my life not looking like what I always dreamed that it would look like. Um, and it was also a little bit at that time about figuring out, because I had this idea in my head of who God wanted me to be, but clearly God had something else. And
Mm,
so picking up my writing again after some very difficult stuff happened to me was kind of also about me figuring out who God really had for me to become and what he really had for me.
wow.
Um, and so I think it was very spiritually guided, that he took something away from me and said, no, you need to do this instead. And this was writing.
Wow.
Um, but the idea for the magic system, if you want to call it that, which really is more gifts given to people by God, that was kind of born of my husband installed a wood stove in our house that year.
Oh, cool.
And so, and I always have just thought fire is so beautiful and it's such a give and take, because fire has to consume in order to give that heat, that life-giving heat. And
Mm,
so I've always been fascinated with that cycle. And so I was staring into the fire one cold winter night, and it was actually right after Christmas. And I was just swept up in all the emotion and the power of the fire. And I thought to myself, what if um, a fire elemental accidentally, in the process of enjoying fire and rejoicing in fire, accidentally burned her house down and lost her family in that fire? And what kind of journey would she go on?
yeah.
And
Do
that
you
is
feel
literally
bad?
chapter one of To Bind Fire.
Oh.
So that's, yeah, it came from that.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And isn't it interesting how stories always kind of start from that what if, and then you're like, like that. Oh my gosh, that is so, because like that fire element, like that she actually can control the fire, and then she loses her family from something she did. or her powers not maybe not being able to control her powers completely or
Mhm.
something. I'm sure that scars her a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful though. I love that. And so you have how many books out in that series right now?
So it's a complete trilogy.
Okay.
Book one is To Win Fire, book two is To Bind the Court, and book three is To Bind the Stars, which came out at the end of May. And there's a prequel novella that I also put out for my newsletter subscribers to get for free. And you can still get that for free when you sign up for my newsletter. So it's a complete trilogy plus a novella. And I also have two other side character novellas revolving around the same series
Awesome.
that I'm working on that I'm going to put out that I actually created primarily because I did a Kickstarter that went really well. And so readers wanted these novellas. And so I said, okay, I'm going to give you these novellas. So ultimately, those will probably all be put together in an omnibus, and I'll be releasing those ultimately all together. And so then
Cool.
it will be more like four books if you take, because it'll be thick, once they're
Yeah.
all put together. So it'll be more like four books by the end. But the trilogy is technically complete, and I'm working on the next thing right now. So
Okay. Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. So, for your novellas then, are they characters that are throughout the other books and everything, and then you kind of just dug deeper into each of these characters' stories, sort of?
exactly, exactly. So the first novella is this one, and it's Cassandra's Dragon, and it is about the backstory of a character who has a very secretive role in the main series. And so in book one, you don't get to find out till the very end what her true motivations were.
Wow.
And so this novella gives you the backstory of why she did the seemingly horrifying thing that she did at the end of book one. And so it was actually designed to be read after book one, although a ton of readers read it before book one just because it was available and book one wasn't
Yeah.
available yet. And so it's very interesting how people's journeys through the series are very different depending on if they start with this or if they start with To Bind Fire and then go into this. So it's actually really interesting to watch. And then the other two novellas, um, one of them is set during the course of what happened in book two, but shows a character that we had to walk away from for a while and what was going on with him and how his actions, though they seem small, actually um, created the outcome of the end of the war in book three. And so, and then the last character is mostly just people needed to see this character happy.
Mm.
And I didn't give that character happiness at the end of the series, and they needed that. So I'm giving them that.
And giving that to them when they're, yes. Oh, that's
Exactly.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Or will there be more coming out for that series or not really?
So the next series that I am writing is in the same world,
Cool.
but different, another generation of characters. So we're jumping down a generation. And so yes and no. It will be a series that can be read on its own, but it will have lots of callbacks to everything that happened in the first series.
Oh,
So
cool. Okay, so when it comes to writing a new project or a story, do you feel like the character comes first or the plot?
um boy, that's tough because when I used to pants more, I always said character first all the time, every time.
Right.
Um, but now I have a set world and I have a set magic system and I have set rules, and characters can't just go around breaking rules or the
Right.
readers are going to be really confused. So now I'd say it's probably more 50-50. I
Okay.
want to follow my characters on their journey, but at certain points in the plot structure, they got to do certain things
Right.
or else everything falls apart.
So what does a day in the life of writer D.E. Carlson look like?
That's a tough one to answer because my days are very often very unstructured. Mostly, I'm a very structured person, but we do homestead and we ranch, and so oftentimes I'll have a plan for my day, and then my husband will pop up and say, "Well, we got to do this really important thing today," and so then everything else has to go by the wayside. So I've learned to be very flexible.
Okay.
My ideal day during the summertime, so when my kids aren't in school because I am homeschool mom. So during the
Cool.
summer, when my kids aren't in school, a typical day is morning is usually for fulfilling orders because right now I'm self fulfilling quite a lot. So I get those orders done in the morning. And then when I walk out to the mailbox to put the orders out, I usually also take my walk because that really helps keep me sane. So I take a nice walk. And then when I come back in, if I have a little bit of time before it's time to eat and get the kids settled, I might squeeze a little drafting in. But usually drafting has to wait until afternoon and evening. Afternoon, I like to spend at least an hour working on marketing. So either creating content or editing content or posting content, or whatever needs to be done at that time. This last month, all of my content creation time and my writing time went to arguing with Amazon. So I'm very behind on marketing and all book stuff. But fortunately, the Lord has blessed me to be able to focus the last couple days, and I
Huh.
have been able to catch up on a lot of that. Well, not the marketing so much, but at least the writing is getting done.
Ah,
Um, and then, a lot of times in the evening, I'll have a critique group meeting, or I'll have various different interactions with either other authors or other readers. And I just save some time later in the day for those things. And then in the evening, I try to work on, so I have ARC reads that I need to do. I have beta reads for fellow authors that I need to do, and I have endorsement reads that I need to do, and I always overcommit. So in the evening, I usually try to work on one of those.
okay.
So that's my ideal day.
Yeah.
Now, how many ideal days do I have? Maybe once a month.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my goodness. Well, at least you're chipping towards your goals and you're getting there. Even if, you have to move a couple things to the next day, right?
Right.
That is awesome though. And I love too how you're like homesteading and homeschooling and that's just awesome, as well as being an author boss. So I just love that. And so, do you have any advice for other authors out there or readers who are interested in that, or, authors that are like, I really would love to homeschool my kids, or
Sure.
be able to write at the same time while being a mom or something like that?
Sure. So my best advice is if you have the desire, just start working towards that goal. And just if you're also a mom, or let's say you also have a job that you need to go to every day, different things that kind of have, they use up a lot of your mental energy, your emotional energy, and your physical energy, whatever that might be in your life. Um, have a lot of patience and grace for yourself. Be very realistic with your deadlines. And just start working towards it, because it won't happen until you take that first step. And you might think, well, this isn't a good time because I have a 1 year old and they need a lot of attention. Okay. But then once that 1 year old is a little older, there will be another thing in your life where you're like, well, it's not a good time because I've got this going on. It's never actually a good time.
Mm.
That's the painful truth. So if you have that desire and you have that love for the written word and you want that in your life, just take that first step. And then when you make that first step, take another step and then another step. You just got to think about it one step at a time, instead of thinking about like, in 5 years, I'm going to have 10 books out. Mm, just take one step and then take another step. And, once you see what your pacing can look like, then you can start thinking about those bigger, really exciting goals. Um, Join a critique group. I cannot emphasize that enough. It can be tough because anytime you're working with other people, tensions arise, especially when you are handing them your sweet baby and saying, here you go, tell me what's wrong with this. That's hard. That's painful. That's very difficult to do. Tensions will arise. Emotions may get heightened. Um, but it will sharpen you more than anything else.
Mm.
And it will also really prepare you for when you have a book out in the world and the reviews start to come in and
Mm.
you start seeing what those people think. So having that critique group experience can just kind of prepare your soul
Mm.
for the fact that soon you're putting that baby out for the whole world to criticize. And that's even harder. So definitely, I don't think it's great for an author to publish without other eyes on their manuscript, for their own emotional journey and their own mental journey, as well as for the manuscript itself. So it's not just technical skill, it's also preparing your heart and your mind for the brutality that is the world.
That's so well put and so good. I love that. So where do you feel like authors should find those critique groups and everything?
It can sometimes be very random. For instance, so when I found mine, it was actually very, very, very random. So I can't necessarily say, here's how you find a critique group,
Right,
because mine
right.
was super random. I was in a Facebook group and someone put out a call for critique people who would want to join a critique group with her. And so many people hopped in and said, I want in, that she created our own Facebook group, pulled everybody into that, and then separated everybody into what days they could meet in groups of 6. And she was amazing at
Wow,
organizing
that's
it all.
amazing.
And so everybody had their own little critique group, and I ended up thrown in with other people based purely on what day we could meet.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it had nothing to do with having anything in common or liking the same types of books. It was a fantasy group, so at least there was that in common. But we all write radically different things. And
Wow.
some people might see that as a negative, but I see that as a positive, because if you enter into a critique group, let's just say with all Christian authors who are focused on Christianity in their writing, then you are here, right? Your book is here, and you've got these people giving you advice, but it's all coming from this angle, right?
Yeah.
And so you're getting great advice, but then
Yeah.
when your book goes out in the world and suddenly everyone's seeing it, these
Yeah.
people might like it a lot, and that's great, but like, are you well rounded? Have
Uh,
you got that like ability to have everybody kind of find something in it that's for
right.
them? Not necessarily. And that can be okay, but
Yeah.
it's not your strongest work. If you
Mm.
have people from all over giving you feedback, then you can create your strongest work. And
Yes.
so I see it as a positive. And when I say a positive, I mean we had people from all walks of life, all walks of life.
That's
And
amazing.
somehow we got along, which is a miracle.
That's great.
I think it was really just respect each other,
Yeah.
like respect where each one of us is coming from, our different religions, our different lifestyles, our different all of our different backgrounds. Just respecting each other goes a long way towards making a relationship work.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And I love just how like you're so excited about it and you can tell. And I just love that too, because there is that respect and that is so big in our world today because there's out in the world there really isn't much of that, that respect where people can actually, have difference of opinion and actually still be friends and nice to each other, right? So that's
Absolutely.
really cool that you have that with your critique group. So,
Well, I get excited about it because I do feel that God really made that happen. Because if I hadn't just been randomly scrolling Facebook and saw that and been like, oh, that looks fun, I probably would have ended up in a group that, while amazing, may not have sharpened me to the degree that this group could. And I
mhm.
feel only God could have made that happen, because I
Amazing.
would not have sought out a group of that structure, because
Right.
I didn't know
Hmm.
better. I was just, whatever. I was like, maybe I'll publish someday, maybe I won't. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And God
Right.
was like, well, I know what's going to happen, and he fixed it.
Oh, that's cool. And that's the great thing about God. He does know. And he kind of is just like putting breadcrumbs everywhere. And that's kind of like with this road trip. I don't know, like I had this ear infection like a couple months ago and like I wasn't able to sleep that night and everything. And all of a sudden, just in the middle of the night, almost like a whisper, it's like a road trip, a road trip. So it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do that, God. So I think it was definitely a God's idea for this whole road trip. So it's been interesting, and I've been learning lots and making many new friends, and it's been really great. So
Love that. That's so
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, thank you. It's been awesome. So I'm gotta thank him for that. So
Yeah.
since we're on a road trip and we're in North Dakota, hey, both of us are. So for this week then, for you, if you could encourage people to come to North Dakota and see some things, what would you recommend? I of course have my own ideas, but I'm here to ask you that. So yeah, where would you tell people they should definitely check out and go for fun in North Dakota?
There are a lot of really cool things in North Dakota. The Medora musical is probably the single coolest thing in North
Pretty
Dakota, but
awesome.
there are also a lot of other very interesting things. There are some abandoned missile silo sites you can
Mm.
visit and tour, which can give you some insane world building ideas. I mean, it's like spooky down there.
Ooh.
Let's see, what else is there? We have there's a lot of aviation museums, which can be really, really cool. I believe there's a really big one in Fargo. And I think there might be one in Minot too. or maybe I'm crazy. Um,
I think
yeah,
so.
so those are really awesome. And then there's actually right in my area, which is Southwest North Dakota, we have creation museums purely because there are a lot of dinosaur bones over here.
Cool.
And so people find them and find a lot of evidence for creation and a lot of evidence for,
Yep.
not other possibilities for the world coming into existence. And
Okay.
so creation museums have just popped up all over. And so you can
Wow.
go in and look at the dinosaur bones and read about creation. And yeah, it can be really awesome. And we also have a petrified wood museum, which is freaking awesome.
Amazing.
I mean, like massive towering pieces of petrified wood, and you can just walk, it's like a maze and you can just walk through it. And so yeah, North Dakota, believe it or not, is pretty awesome.
It is. It is pretty cool. There's a lot of people just think it's just what prairie and farmland, but it's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
those are great options for people to check out. I love that you mentioned the forest. Well, the forest. It used to be a forest, right? The
Uh-huh.
petrified forest and everything.
Yes.
So that's really
Well, and
cool.
then
So if you could take your two main characters from your book, and if at the end of the book, if they were to go on a road trip, and it is fantasy, so that is kind of a little bit different. It might look a little different than a road trip in our world. How would that look in your world?
so my two
Where would
main
they go?
characters going on a road trip. Well, first of all, they would be flying on a dragon.
Yep. I love that.
And honestly, I don't want to say anything that's potentially a spoiler for book three.
Right.
But there are a few different places they would have to check out for sure, in my world. There are some really awesome caves where a certain civilization um, lived in hiding for a long time from the evil emperor. And there's the Sea of Glass. So I actually kind of geek out about the Sea of Glass because what it
Oh,
was is it was a desert, but that was the final battleground when the Firebloods, which are the fire elementals, were trying to put down all of the other elemental groups. So their fire became so intense that they melted the sand and it hardened into a sea
wow.
of glass.
Oh my
And
word.
so, yeah, they'd be going to see that.
That's
I
cool.
personally wish I could visit my own world and go see that because I think it would be like imagine it at night when the
Yeah.
stars are reflecting in it.
Oh my
So it'd
word.
basically be like being in space because there'd be stars under
The
you and stars
stars
above
and
you.
wow. Yeah,
Right?
that's beautiful. I
Right?
love that. Oh my gosh, I want to go there too. So I can't wait to read the books. I can't wait to read the books. So yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely get a signed copy from you at Literatures and
Oh,
Lattes.
for sure, for
So
sure.
that's another thing too, like being in fantasy world and everything, and being able to create these really cool worlds. And how is it that you kind of like come up with these really cool ideas? Like, I mean, thinking about that, Sea of Glass, that's amazing. That's beautiful. How did that come to you?
I think it's really a lot of you start here and then there's a logical progression from here to the next thing.
Yes.
And that's kind of how my world building came about. Like I thought, okay, what if fire elemental? And then what if there was a war? And then what if in that war there was a final battleground in a desert? And what if that fire got so hot it melted the sand? And so that was the what if
Cool.
trail that I followed to get there.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's one of the things that makes reading a book so incredible is that one author might take a completely different path and go somewhere else with that exact same starting point,
Mm,
even the exact same world building. And so
right.
when you read a book written by a human being,
Yeah.
you are allowing your mind to be taken somewhere with an idea that
Mm,
your mind may never have gone, like a
yeah.
journey that could not have existed for you before. And I think that's one of the coolest things about reading, being
Yeah.
taken on a journey through someone else's thought process about something.
Right. Yeah, because like how you said that, like, yeah, if five writers were given, a starting point, same sort of characters and world, it would be each story would be different. And that's so cool.
Exactly,
So you could
exactly.
go on a bunch of different journeys there. So I love that about reading too and writing. It's just so much fun. So now if you were to go on a road trip and you were to bring one book with you, this book is maybe one you keep visiting over the years, maybe it's your comfort read or just your favorite book in general. What one book would that be?
Well, obviously saying Bible would be cheating, so we're not going to do that.
I love that you said it though. I love that you said it though. That's really good.
It would have to be The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh,
And I know it's a bit cliche for a Christian, but like, I am what I am.
I love that. Yeah, The Chronicles of Narnia, it's my baby too. I love that series so much. Like right up there, I have it. Yeah. I
Yay!
love Narnia and C.S. Lewis was brilliant and that's the series that made me want to be a writer when I was little.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That
it's
tells me all I need to know about your books. Now I want them.
thank you. Yeah, and I'm excited too because well, right now I've put out my rom-coms, but I love fantasy too, and I've been playing with the fantasy world and stuff. I haven't published
Ooh.
anything yet in fantasy,
Ooh.
but yeah, so
I
we'll
will be
definitely
I will be waiting for that. I'll be
yes,
watching for that.
right. Oh my gosh, well, exciting. Right. Well, Dorothy, it was so much fun to talk with you. Can you share where people can find you and support you and follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, I am on Amazon. So you can go and buy my stuff on
Yay!
Amazon if you would like to. But if you want to support me more directly, you can head to my shops. I have a TikTok shop and an Etsy shop. And if you go to either one of those, you'll be getting signed copies. You'll be getting extra swag, bookmarks, stickers, other goodies thrown in with your copy. And there is the option for you to ask for personalization. So I can sign it directly to you as well through those shops. If you sign up for my email newsletter, which is also in the link in my bio. Everything is in the link in my bio. Everything I'm talking about, you go to my bio on any social media, you'll find a link, and in that link is all the things.
Cool.
So when you go to that link, you can sign up for my newsletter, and then you get a free novella, which is a prequel to the main series, which can give you a taste and let you kind of see if it's something that you would enjoy. And what other opportunities? Of course, I have street team signups. If you're really excited about the series, you can hop into my street team and help me hype up my series. I love to give my street team little special goodies and gifts. I've been known to actually send things in the mail to my street
Cool.
team. So and then I also very frequently have ARC signups open up for my new books. So you can always sign up to get a free book in exchange for an honest review.
Cool.
So yeah, in the link tree are all the joys. So head there.
Hey, that's exciting. I will be sure to pop your link, that awesome link with all the goodies, in the description below this video. Oh my goodness, this has just been so much fun, Dorothy. I really enjoyed chatting with you. We should definitely chat again sometime soon, and I'll let you know too if I make it out to that area where you are
Awesome.
and everything. It was so much fun to talk to you. So,
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And it was really wonderful to get to chat with you.
oh, absolutely. It was so much fun. So, I look forward to chatting with you again in the future, and I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll talk to
Bye.
you later. Thanks for riding shotgun on the Romance Reading Road Trip. I'm so excited for you to be joining this journey with us. Be sure to go down to the video description below and sign up for the passport. You're not going to want to miss out on it.